Well, farewell there, and a new era begins right there in Geneva. Now, I'm talking about one of the stories we told you about, how to ensure the success of startups. Can we really do that? Let's speak to a startup who has grown and found his fit. The Chief Executive Officer of Mentors.so, Social Ajibade, joins us virtually now to tell us this experience, because we see failure rate in startups between 2010 and 2018. In Ethiopia, 75%, Rwanda, 75%, Ghana, 73.9%, Nigeria, 61.05%, Kenya, 58%, and South Africa, 54%. So the list we see there is from South Africa, more than 50%. That's a dangerous trend to follow. But let's hear from Tosho, beg your pardon, and here perhaps he has some lessons. Hi, Tosho, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me here.
Yeah, so, these numbers are, yes, I know that it's 2018. That's the earliest we could get. Africa and data were not very good. But when we see that up to 75% of startups that start, they actually die off, that's really scary. And when you want to attract funds for investment or for startups, when they see these numbers on the continent, it's not encouraging at all. Is there something we're doing wrong?
Yeah, it's quite concerning because there are some basic things that as founders that we need to validate before setting out to build products or raise investments. And one of that is to ask ourselves if we are actually providing value. Like for whatever products we want to build out, like the founder needs to evaluate, are they providing actual solutions to problems people are willing to pay for? Because if you just have an idea, then you start building it out, there's a danger of building the product just for yourself, not something that solves actual problem. Then after that, you also need to evaluate how much are people willing to pay for this. Is this in a way that can make the business profitable? So one reason why these numbers are so high is because founders don't ask themselves these basic questions before they start building out the products.
Yeah, so we always hear that, from idea to impact. So obviously they say if you want to start a business, look for a problem and provide a solution for it. How do we drill this down, especially to the young people who are very crazy about starting their own businesses and not, being employed?
Yeah, that is where validations come in. Like, it's quite important to validate whatever idea you want to build out before building a product. And one way to do that might be asking your friends, might be asking on social media, this is an idea I have, this is a solution I want to provide. Will you be willing to pay for it? Asking them, how are you currently solving this problem? So by asking these basic questions, they'll be able to know if their idea is actually something that is worth pursuing. And after that, they want to build an MVP to test out the hypothesis they already have. So these are some basic fundamental things that if they don't get right at the onset, then they might have challenges at a later stage.
So does this process you just explained, does it come first, or does the idea come in first?
The idea comes first, then after that comes validation. So the idea is you observing a problem or you personally experiencing a problem. Then the next thing you want to do is validation, like validate the idea. Is this a problem that is peculiar to me, or is this a problem that other people have as well? Because if it's just a problem that you are experiencing and others are not, then you run the danger of building a product that is just for yourself and no one is willing to use it nor pay for it. So you want to validate amongst your friends once you have an idea if it is something they actually want and are willing to pay for, and not just amongst your friends. I've seen people designing questionnaires, share it in WhatsApp communities, share it on socials just to gather early feedback to see if the idea is worth pursuing.
When does funding come in? When you have this idea, perhaps you should plan that you have family and friends, of course, who are ready to, or at what point can you go out loud when it comes to funding?
From my personal experience, it's best to validate the idea before asking for funding. Because if you ask for funding, now you have much more responsibilities, and you're also accountable to your investors. So the very first thing you want to do once you validate your idea is have a prototype, have an MVP that people can try out. Ensure that whatever problem you are solving is actually worth solving. Otherwise, you are going to raise funding to scale something that has not been validated, to scale a problem that people might not be experiencing.
So please share with us from your experience. A lot of people say, I'm passionate about something. How do you know which of your passions can actually lead to a great business idea which you should develop on? What are some of the things or features you should look out for?
That's a very important question, because passion is different from running a business. One thing to look out for is, if I'm passionate about this problem, or I'm passionate about this particular sector, are people willing to pay for it, and can it become a great business? Can it earn enough revenue to sustain itself? Because if it's not a great business and it can't make enough profit to sustain itself on the long term, then maybe it's best for it to be a passion instead of becoming a business. Because once it becomes a business, then you are accountable to your investors, you are accountable to your users.
So which one should be priority? They say don't do what you don't love, yeah? Your wealth lies within what you love and what you're passionate. So which one should be priority? Should it be me considering my passion, or considering what's going to sell at the time?
Yeah, it has to be an intersection of the two. It has to be something you love doing, and it also has to be a problem that is worth solving. So it's an intersection of the two. It's very important you are passionate about the problem. Otherwise, you might not have enough energy to see it through. So both of them are equally important when deciding to pursue any idea.
All right. Well, let's go looking for that balance between passion and a good business idea, profitable business idea. Thank you so much for bringing that to attention. To Show Ajibade, Chief Executive Officer of Mentors SO.
Yeah, thank you for having me.